Bean Games!
Here we go, guys. See, this time I waited to talk until the logo was almost off the screen, so there wasn't quite that big amount of noise. Trying to get that balance just right. It doesn't really matter, I know. Welcome back to Bean Games. Welcome back to Fridays. Welcome back to Euro Truck Simulator. I hope you've had a fantastic week. I've had a great week, a good week, a very nice week. I didn't mention on Monday, but I hope you got your taxes in. Hope you got that. That deadline was on Monday. I didn't want to mention it for the Resident Evil episode on Monday because zombies are scary enough. And to think about zombies and tax rates at the same time, that's too much even for this YouTube channel. So I hope you had a great week. I hope you got your taxes in. Mine were done several weeks ago. I owed the government all kinds of money. It was fantastic. We cried, we wept. I have considered taking up trucks as a second job, out driving on the road. That's not really true. I have started doing something else, but I'll share that here in a few minutes. In the meantime, before we get it too deep into any topics, let's jump in game. Let's find us a delivery and start driving across Europe. We're still level 9. I think once we hit level 10, which might be next episode, I think we'll spend at least part of an episode looking at either upgrades or maybe thinking about getting our first garage upgrade or hiring another driver or buying a second truck. There's some options there, and I'm going to explore them. I'm going to explore them, organically, and just kind of see what feels right in the moment. One thing I would like to do is, I almost said heal my truck, because I've got some damage there from last time, driving all up into fences and things. But I'm going to have to actually get to a garage to heal my truck hit points. Get a med kit for the truck. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. We are in Lille. Lily of the Valley. Let's see, where are we here exactly? That's right. Last time we had the issue with the channel where you didn't get to see me go through the channel because we lost some of that episode, and I'm very, very sorry. But we'll keep on going, and I'm sure we'll go through the channel again at some point. There is a mechanic here, so let's go head over there and get healed up, and then we haven't taken a good look at the map here in a while. There is still so much we have not gotten to. We've had some good runs here, kind of the north and south of Germany, right through the middle, and then we've done this nice kind of U around the bottom of France. I guess we don't get to go down into Spain and Portugal, but we've done this nice U. We've really covered some ground here. I think is the thickness of the road like how many times you've driven on it, or is it just some roads are thicker than others? No, I think that's just some roads are thicker than others. That makes sense. So we still haven't been to Paris. We haven't been to a lot of this in central France. So we'll have to see if anything looks interesting there. But for right now, let's just drive. No cargo, no nothing. And let's go do a little repair work. Ooh, easy there. Driving with that hot stick with no cargo in the back. I'm telling you what. Let's just pull right out over here. Get us a green light. turning radius so much tighter with no cargo in the back. It's nice. Oh, I'm going to stop there. I'll get some more tickets soon enough, but no sense in rushing on that. Pardon me. Just had a little peanut butter and chocolate clogging me up a little bit. Should have. Do I have some water over here? Oh, it's a green light. Oh dear. A few sips of water. I forgot to fill up my water bottle too. Well, water bottle. It's a growler. To be perfectly frank. I must be frank. It's a growler that I do not use for beer because I don't really drink beer that much. I'm just not a fan of beer. Just the taste of it. It's just never really clicked for me. But I use my growler for water. Keep it here by my computer desk. The trick is remembering to put water in it. That's the hard part. Okay, I'm not going to worry about upgrades right now. We're just going to repair just under 5,000 euros. Fix up those dents and dings. Okay. Now let's see if we can get out of here without hitting this mint green truck in front of me. Is it mint green? The light kind of makes it look minty green. Maybe it's just a Kelly green. Let's go over here to Trameri. Oh no, I don't want to go to Trameri. Trameri's one of those. It's like was that in the last episode? This cargo place with like a little tiny archway to get in. Nightmare. Just a nightmare. No, thank you. I would rather get a delivery at some other station. So we're gonna go take a look and see what else we got here in Lille. Is this a depot or is this a garage? Ooh, I'm just smoking there. No, yeah, that's a garage. You know, I'm just curious. Let's do a little research for future episodes. This is like a nice big three truck garage. 180,000 euros. That's quite a few euros, but I'm pretty sure I can take a bank loan for that amount, which we're almost certainly going to have to do. I did spend a large chunk of my cash paying off. There's that IKEA knockoff truck again. Paying off my truck. I do own my truck free and clear, so I'm not afraid to take another bank loan out, because sometimes in business you gotta spend money to make money. I don't know a lot about business, but I do know that much. So, but too, if we take out a loan and get another truck and hire a driver, we're at least, okay, that's another truck dealer right there. I can only assume how the economy works in this game. I'm sure I have to pay my driver, the drivers that I hire, a good amount of money, but I assume I get some kind of cut. And if I get some kind of cut by basically just managing it on a few screens, hey, that's pretty good. That's the kind of residual income that we need. Tradox. Trado. See what we got here for deliveries. Freight market. All right, we've got chimney systems and we've got pet food. Oh, we're going to take pet food down to Mannheim just because I don't... Oh, that might be across the channel, which would be cool. But, you know, we went back and forth there a lot last time, so let's take some dry cat food. Or dog food. Doesn't say. It's just pet food. Down to Mannheim. Oh, we're going to cross right through Luxembourg, too. Look at that. Little tiny Luxembourg. We're actually going to go... Okay, yeah, we're right on the border here of Belgium and France. We're going to go through Luxembourg and over to Germany. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get ourselves hooked up here. Free and easy. And there we go. How am I doing sleep-wise? I didn't even think about... Oh, I'm going to have to take a rest stop. It's like a 9-hour drive. I got 20 hours to do it. Ooh, it's going to be close. If I have to sleep for like 8 hours in there, that's going to be kind of close. Woof. Did not look at that one. But I think we can still do it, as long as we don't get delayed. That is one thing we have not seen in this game, which I am very glad for, if it does not exist, is traffic jams. There's some construction, but there do not appear to be traffic jams. I guess they decided that it was not worth having that level of realism in the game, and for that I'm grateful. But yeah, let me show you my growler here. This is from I did some triathlon races a few years ago, and if you can see it there. This was the 2016 Anderson YMCA Triathlon. I got second place in my age division. Great day. That was actually my first triathlon ever. It was a very cold day. I don't think it was a very big field. I don't know how I got second place in my division. There must not have been very many people in my division. Hey, growler is still a growler, right? But no, that was a very cold day. That was the first triathlon I'd done. I had been training for a while, and it was so cold. It was April, but it was one of those unseasonably cold April days. It was on a Saturday, I think, Saturday morning. It was a sprint triathlon, which is the shortest length. There are 4 different lengths of triathlon. There's sprint, Olympic, half iron, and Ironman. The sprint is typically very, very short. This was like a 400-meter swim and a... You gonna let me go there? Okay. Ooh, nope. Ooh, how did I not step on his face? Oh, I'm breaking all of the laws here. I'm very sorry. Please go. Remember how we said there are no traffic jams in this game? Sometimes I cause the traffic jams. Oh. Woof. That was very stressful. But we made it. Yeah, so it was like a 400... Or it says on there. No, a 300-yard swim, a 20K bike, which is like 12 miles, and then a 5K run, which is like 3 miles. So I completely forget what my time was. I have no idea. It was 3 years ago. But it was a freezing cold day. The swim, as most sprint triathlons do, at least around here, was in the indoor pool at the YMCA. So it was heated, thankfully, because again, it was like 38 degrees at start time. Freezing cold. So you get out of the heated pool and you run, and you immediately get on your bike and you start pedaling away, and you're going as fast as you can. But you're still wet from the swim, obviously, because you don't really dry off. You just dry off as you get on the bike and let the air dry you. But so the first 15 or 20 minutes on the bike, you're just turning into an icicle. I mean, just an icicle, because it's 40 degrees outside and you're dripping wet, and the wind is blowing past you because you're on a bike going as fast as you can. So cold. I distinctly recall not being able to feel my toes. But then over the course of it, you warm up eventually. And then by the time the sun had started to come out, by the time we got to the 5K run, I'd been running for a good little while at that point, biking for less time, and I've never been a good swimmer. It's one of the reasons I stopped doing triathlon. I love running and I love biking, but I don't love swimming. It's just not my thing. I just hate it, to be perfectly honest. So the swim is like, oh, just don't drown. And then the bike was good, but fine. But then I distinctly recall getting on the run, and of course you're tired, you're exhausted, but starting the run, I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. This is my thing. And I was actually faster on the run than a good deal of other people who, you know, by the time they got to the run, they were just kind of slugging through it. But I loved the run, and I was... Oh! Whoa, speaking of... Did he just rear-end him? Man. I'm telling you what, I've cursed the game. I said, you know, there's really no traffic jams. And then I caused one, and then I think we just witnessed a fender bender. Do I have to wait here for the police to come and fill out a report? I sure hope not. Nope. Apparently they just electronically transmitted their insurance information to each other. And now we're all friends. And so that's fine. But yeah, so anyway, that is the story of my growler that sits on my desk and usually holds water unless I forget to fill it up. Speaking of carrying pet food, you probably have never seen him. Yeah, the webcam can't quite pick up. It can pick up a little tiny bit of the cage behind me, but the pet that my wife and I keep lives here in our room. You've probably heard him in the background of some of the videos. His name is Coffee. He is a hedgehog. An African pygmy hedgehog. He is almost 2 years old. He's our second hedgehog. We had another boy named Hash Brown who lived to be almost 4. He's a wonderful pet. We loved him very dearly, but then he passed away a couple of years ago. And so we got Coffee, another little boy hedgehog. And he's a great little dude. Hedgehogs are very low maintenance pets. They are not very social animals. Like they are very defensive animals, to be perfectly honest, and so they don't really get cuddly. Like they will learn who a person is by their smell. Terrible eyesight, so they can smell you. But they're very content just to live in their cage and run on their wheel. They're nocturnal, so they run all night long. Run, and they eat dried cat food. So that is what I was thinking of at the top of the episode when I picked up that pet food delivery, thinking about dry cat food, because that's the kind of cat food. That's the kind of pet food that I buy for Coffee. He only eats like a tablespoon a day, so we get a bag and it lasts for months and months. So he'll eat and he'll run on his wheel all night long. Run, and then sleep. He loves to burrow. It's very rare, actually, that I come in and I see him like awake and moving around, because usually, if the lights are on in the room, he is more often than not burrowed into his blankets, as deep as can be. Sometimes I have heard him a few times during the Resident Evil episodes, because the lights are off, and then I will hear him running back there. Adds a little atmospheric noise. You probably just thought it was a zombie sound effect. Nope, hedgehog running in the darkness. I got just under 2.5 hours until my next rest stop. Got a rest area coming up here. I'm wondering, well, you know, I need gas too. So let's go ahead and pull off here. Why not? Oh, which way do I go? Oh, I didn't look at the signs there. let's go here to fuel up first. Stop the engine, and let's fill the fuel tank. Diesel price. Oop, gotta hold it. 1.5 euros per liter. So many liters. Is this accurate? Like how many? Let's see if this works. Hey Google, how many liters of fuel does an 18-wheeler hold?
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that yet, but I'm still learning.
Google's still learning. I have a little Google Home Mini here on my desk, so I should ask him questions more. 1,000 liters, that's a big gas tank. I'm not qualified enough to know if that is correct or not, but I don't see why it wouldn't be. Now we'll take a little nap. From 22:57, 9-hour rest. Okay. Yeah, so we got 6 hours left on the delivery. We've got 9 hours left on the job. So we're good. Little 3-hour buffer there. We should be fine. However, I hope I'm not cursing myself by speaking too soon. I could still flip the truck. For all you know. Goodness. So yeah, I mentioned earlier my new side gig, my new side hustle. It is not driving trucks. Not an easy job to pick up on the side. You know, like I figure that's got to be a career. The only place I'm going to do that is here. Don't worry, I'm not out there driving big trucks in real life. But no, what I am doing is giving plasma. Yes, that is correct. I have rejoined the ranks of those brave souls who don't mind needles, who donate plasma. Sell plasma, I guess, really, because they do pay you for it. I guess I'm donating plasma and they're compensating me for my time. Whatever works. My history with plasma donation goes way back. Way back. Roughly a decade or so. At some point when I was in college, in undergrad, I became aware, I forget how exactly, of a plasma donation place in downtown, near where my school was. I honestly could not even tell you how I discovered it. I don't remember if someone told me about it or if I just found it with my own research. I do not recall. But I learned that you can sell plasma, sell your time, if that's it. And I said, well, hey, that's, as a broke college student, that sounds like a thing I should do. Because why not? I'm willing to sell at least parts of my body for money. Yikes. This place was sketchy. I'm just going to come right out and say it. It was not in a bad part of town, but it was not the most high-class part of town in the most high-class building. It was this kind of dingy-looking old building. You had to go in, get on a waiting list. They were always packed, always a lot of people. Wasn't super well run. Of course, I didn't even know at the time. I figured out that to like even get to be able to where you could donate, you had to, of course, go through like the initial medical screening, and the only way to do that was to go there on a Saturday and be like one of the first 10 people in line. And the line would start forming like 2 hours before they opened, at 8 in the morning or something. So one Saturday morning, 2 friends of mine and myself drove down, and we got in line. There was already a bunch of people there. It wasn't always a set thing like, oh, there's going to be, the first 10 people in line get in. It was however many open spots they had that would get in. So we got in line behind a bunch of other people. I distinctly recall we got there, and there's a few people, and there is one older guy, like sitting on the steps of the building, like sleeping, leaned over, and he had a gun in the waistband of his pants. I kid you not. That was when I kind of wondered, are we in over our heads? Should we be here? Is this safe? Well, it was safe. Everything was fine. But that day, I was the only one to get in. My friends did not. So I got in and did the screening. And I forget how many times I actually donated there. I know it was at least 2 or 3 times, but I forget how long I kind of rode that train of plasma donation. It was a little inconvenient to get there because I didn't have a car, and so I had to ride my bike down. And I distinctly recall once riding my bike back and getting a flat tire, and that was just a pain in the butt in terms of losing like half my day to having to walk back to campus. I'll never forget that first morning, though, when we did donate, because I got in and went through the screening, and then my friends were dejected because they'd had to wait for me. So we decided to go to Chick-fil-A. And so we went to Chick-fil-A, and my friend who was driving the car got pulled over for a speeding ticket, and it was very awkward because he was afraid that his father was going to be very mad at him, which he was, but everything was fine. Speeding tickets were always a big thing, when before we all became adults, I haven't gotten a speeding ticket for several years. I'm very pleased to report, but I remember, I will never forget my first speeding ticket. I was driving to work on this little cut-through road that was speed limit 45, and I was going like 65 or something. Cop pulls me over. A motorcycle cop, a bike cop, got me on my first speeding ticket. Oh, the humiliation. And it was one of those things where I didn't want to tell my family for like weeks. Oh, I failed as a human being. I don't know why. Just that stigma of getting a speeding ticket. Pardon me as I shift lanes here like a madman. Yeah, I got 4 or 5 speeding tickets in my life. And then finally one day I just learned to stop having a lead foot. And always put the cruise control like 4 or 5 miles on. 4 or 5 miles per hour over. The thing that really scared me the one time, that scared me straight, I forget if it was my last speeding ticket, but I think maybe it was. This was like back in 2011 or 12, somewhere in there. I was driving to see my parents, and I was in Southern Virginia, and a cop got me going. What was I going? I think I was going like 81 into 70 or something. Yeah, 81 into 70. So I was 11 miles per hour over the speed limit. Bad. In a 70. But that's the day that I learned that in Virginia, not true in every state, but in Virginia, anytime you're caught going, what is it now? Is it It's like regardless of the speed limit, if you're caught going over 80 or something like that, it's reckless driving, and reckless driving is a class 1 misdemeanor. And suddenly I realized that was about to go on my record, and I freaked out. Again, I didn't tell my parents for like 3 days. I just sat on it. Then finally the truth came out. They were like, whoops, well, that was stupid. So what I ended up having to do, I didn't know what I was going to do, because the court date, if I wanted to go to court and ask the judge to please have mercy on me, was going to be in like the middle of February, and I was going back to school in South Carolina, and I was like, I can't drive 400 miles to go to a court date where I don't even know what's going to happen. And then a couple weeks later, I started getting letters in the mail from like law firms in Southern Virginia around like in the county where I'd gotten my speeding ticket. And so I did a little online research and then called one of them up and talked to the lawyer. And he said, look, I handle cases like yours all the time. I know the judge. I'm in there. I'm in traffic court every Thursday. Here's what happens. You pay me $200. I go to court for you. And the judge will drop the charge to just court costs if you do a special safe driving course. And I said, yeah, that sounds good to me. As long as it's not a misdemeanor on my record. I don't want to have a convicted rap sheet. And so he did it. I paid him the $200 and I paid like the $60 in court costs. And I went to a driving class and everything was fine. And I don't think I've gotten caught for speeding since then. Ooh, hello truck. Except in this game, I've gotten caught for speeding in this game many a time. Many a time. But generally, I'm a much safer driver now. Again, now that I've said that, I hope I haven't jinxed myself. But my days of pushing the pedal all the way to the metal are hopefully behind me. Until I have a midlife crisis and, buy a Porsche. Start drag racing. Probably won't happen, but you never know. Anyway, I got really distracted there from giving plasma. So I gave plasma at this place in college a handful of times. It was never a bad experience. It was fine. I've always been okay with needles. I don't love them. I'm not fascinated by them, but they don't really make me squeamish. I'm okay with it. I typically don't like watching them go into my arm, but then once they're in my arm, it's fine. I can put up with it, no problem. Oh, excuse me. So, anyway, brings us to the current day. And, I found out it's something every 3 or 4 years would be like, I wonder if there's a plasma donation place. That place that I went to a decade ago has long since closed down. But there's this newish place opened up, not even that far from my work, my day job place. And so I said, I should go check it out. So I went to check it out earlier this week, and it was great. Went through the medical screening, answered all the questions, got cleared, gave my first donation. Whole thing took between 2 and 3 hours. The actual donation only takes 40 to 45 minutes or so. And it went super smoothly. So I'm gonna keep doing that for a little bit. Get myself a little spare change, spare cash. And hey, you're giving plasma, which is important for other people's health and medical research, and that's a cool thing. So the only thing I'm very curious to watch out for is I do a lot of running and biking and some weightlifting, and I don't want it to impact my recovery and everything on that. So got to make sure that my system recovers okay. But as long as I drink a whole lot of water, I think I should be okay. Got a little needle mark on my arm where they put it in, but not too bad. No pain. People there were very nice. Very, very nice facility. Very clean, very shiny, very, very friendly folks. A far cry from the old college donation place I went to in yesteryear. So that's my new thing, plasma donation. We'll see how long it carries. You can do it twice a week, as long as you have one day between the two donations. I'll do it here for a few weeks. Maybe I'll do some and then take some time off and do some more and take some time off. Depends on if how many new and exciting video games come out this year that I want to buy on release date. Probably won't be too many, but Hey, I don't know if you watched the trailer for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, but I watched that. Very excited. I will almost definitely be buying that on launch day in November when it comes out, and very much hoping that it is not a terrible game. I have high hopes for it. I'm sure I'll like it no matter what. It's Star Wars, after all. Boy, it's going to be a great couple of months. November and December. What's the release date for Episode 9? I don't remember now. But I want to say that will come out in December. So we'll get Fallen Order in November and Episode 9 in December. And we're just going to close out the year with a Star Wars Apalooza. And I am fine with that. Ooh, there's a copper. I'll wait for you to go, sir. Thank you very much. Ooh. It's been so long since we've had a good single-player Star Wars game. I've gone through some big Star Wars phases in my life. I don't think I've shared them on here. At some point, we may just have to take an entire episode just to delve into how much I love Star Wars and how much I have loved it at times of my life. But there have been, of course, just some amazing Star Wars games out there. But many of them, games of yesteryear. There's been very little recently. You've got the RPG hallmarks of KOTOR and KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic. And then, of course, you can go farther back to Dark Forces and Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast. Those games were just terrific. First and third person shooters with lightsaber combat. But they haven't aged spectacularly well. They're not the kind of games I love going back to. They live on exceptionally well in the nostalgia of my memory. But there's so much potential there for new stories. And I'm trying not to get my hopes up about Fallen Order, but my hopes are up. I just don't want to admit it. I have great hopes. We'll see. I will follow its career with great interest. Thank you, prequel memes. And then Episode 9. I mean, let's talk about the first trailer that came out for that. Very excited. I am not a naysayer. I like to enjoy things, so I had no problems with Episode 7 and Episodes 8. And I just can't wait for Episode 9. Whatever story they decide to tell, I am already prepared to enjoy it as thoroughly as possible. And that's how I feel about it. Man, big yawns here. Driver job at net. A recruitment agency. Again, we may be hitting one of those here in the next few episodes. Ooh, up on the curb. And here we are in Mannheim, pulling into Euro Goodies. What a great name. Let's play it safe. Because playing it safe is how we like to play. Here is your pet foods, my fine sirs. Oh man, I almost got it on just the first pass. There we go. Excellent delivery. Really, that was very smooth. We had no major issues or accidents. I don't think we got a single ticket either. And the nice bonuses. Urgent delivery bonus. It doesn't seem to tell you when you're taking the jobs if you're going to get the bonuses. So I guess those are just factored in on the back end of things. Well, that was great. Excellent delivery. Let's see what's next. We're on a roll here. We're feeling great. I mean, I'm feeling a little tired. So let's see what kind of length of delivery we have here. And what else we can do. Let's take a look and see. Next rest up in just under 6 hours. Try to keep that in mind. Reactivate the beacon. Okay. All right, we've got milk and we've got beef. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Okay, there are these little things that say standard delivery. That's interesting. What does this do again? Oh, it just... You can pick what kind of tank you want. Let's see. Beef and milk. Goodness, man. I am really feeling it here. Let's, have we been to Dresden? Let's take 15 tons of milk to Dresden. Why not? I like that better than I like beef for whatever reason. All right, let's get a couple on up here. Oh, can I do it just looking out the window? Oh, beautiful. Nicely done. Nicely done indeed. All right. So let's see, we've got about an 8.5 hour delivery here. Oh, good. Yeah, plenty of time. I'm going to have to take a rest stop in 5 hours, which means we'll have to add 9 hours to our 8 hours, 17 hours, 5 hour buffer. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. I'm also trying to go way too fast here. If I've learned anything, it's in town where the cops will get you. Goodness. New game that I just started playing a little bit of, a game called Pathway. Maybe you've seen it. It just launched on Steam earlier this week. Wasn't even hardly on my radar till a friend of mine pointed it out to me. Fun little game. I've only put a couple hours into it. No real plans to record and post it up here. I'm dedicated to our schedule that we have established between Euro Truck and Resident Evil / whatever scary game comes next. But Pathway's a fun little game. It is a sort of turn-based strategy adventure game set in the 1930s. It's very Indiana Jones-esque. Like it kind of feels like, I mean, they took a lot of props from Indiana Jones. Like you're fighting Nazis and zombies. Although, I don't think Indiana Jones fought zombies. but definitely Nazis. Probably cultists. I haven't gotten that far yet. But strategy games are not usually my thing. I'll be completely honest. I've never been a big strategy guy. I played some Age of Empires growing up. I played through most of the StarCraft campaign. Well, like maybe half the game. I don't think I could ever beat the Zerg campaign, and the Protoss was just far too difficult. The Terran campaign was fun. But strategy not usually my thing. I don't mind it. I enjoy strategy light things, like board games that employ a certain amount of strategy. But there's a certain level where as soon as something gets very strategical, like my brain just fizzles out. Like with gaming, it just doesn't want to work that hard. Just not my cup of tea. And like I've played games like tabletop games like Warhammer that require certain amounts of strategy and number crunching and tactical thinking. I've never been the best at those sorts of things. So when I saw things about this game up front, and it was a turn-based strategy, I was like, well, it's not really my style of game. Like, I've never played any of the XCOM games or anything. Just never really been compelled to them. But there was something about the aesthetic, the sort of top-down, sort of 16-bit graphic or old school kind of top-down isometric art style and some procedurally generated elements and a certain simplicity that I kind of gathered was in the strategy elements going in. And hey, I love Indiana Jones. Love him. That whole 1930s aesthetic, foreign countries, deserts, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and the Temple of Doom and the Lost Ark. I mean, come on, fantastic movies. And so I was like, well, even if the gameplay's kind of maybe the aesthetic will draw me in. Well, so far it's a great balance, again, for me. Like some of the reviews I've seen have said it gets repetitive real quick. It's overly simplistic in the strategic parts. And I'm like, I mean, hey, that's great. That's exactly what I want. I don't want it to go super intense in depth because a lot of times that's where games will lose me. And so far, I'm loving it. Again, a couple hours in, the music is like whoever they had do the music, they basically fed him some John Williams scores and the Indiana Jones soundtracks and said, make it sound kind of like this, because the main theme that plays over and over again, there are 2 or 3 parts that I'm like, that feels like it was just taken directly out of a John Williams score somewhere. There's a couple of examples, like there's a few melodic pieces or chord structures, chord patterns that sound exactly like things from Indiana Jones, from even some of like the Star Wars themes. There's one little interval that's directly out of Leia's theme from the original Star Wars trilogy soundtrack. And it's eminently hummable. Like there's certain parts of it that just get stuck in my head and just play on repeat nonstop. Which, hey, it's not annoying, so I'm a fan of it, but I didn't expect to be as interested as I am about it, so. Arschfahrt! We haven't seen a German exit in a while. How glorious. Taking us back to our early days. Video game music is just a whole genre that I feel is criminally unrecognized sometimes. I know there are awards within the gaming industry for video game soundtracks, and Certainly they're not as big of a landmark genre as, say, movie soundtracks, but there are some game soundtracks, that are just iconic, that just stick with you. Of course, many of them are designed to be more simplistic and repeatable. And I can see why some people may kind of disdain that, this isn't real soundtrack music. But I think back, one of my favorite game soundtracks of all time, the old RPG Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura. Oh, I loved that game. It has not aged well at all. I can't go back and play it now. I've tried. It was the early 2000s when it came out, or maybe late 90s. It was in that Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate 2 sort of style. Very clunky gameplay. I have attempted to go back and play it now, and it's just too clunky. Can't do it. But the music, the entire score for the whole game, dozens and dozens and dozens of hours, was done by a string quartet. And it was just, the music would transport you. There were all these themes. There was the wandering around the map theme, and there was the battle theme, and there was the wandering around in town theme and talking to people theme, and all these themes that would go through loops, and you'd hear them, and you'd hear variations on them over and over again. But it, to date, is one of the only games where, to this day, I will sometimes pull up the soundtrack that they released of music from the game, and I'll listen to it, because it brings back a lot of nostalgic memories. Sure, that's probably the reason I like it the most. I'm not necessarily a string quartet guy. Like, I don't go listening to string quartet groups and classical music because I just love string quartets. I enjoy string quartets. They have a great sound, no doubt. I had a string quartet play at my wedding and at the reception for my wedding, and they were wonderful. But sorry, I had to check my sleep time there. But I'll go back to Arcanum, to that soundtrack, and I'll never play the game again. Not from start to finish. But I will absolutely listen to that soundtrack. And it's a glorious thing. You know what else I've listened to lately is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on audiobook. Yes, that's right. It is finally time for me to go back through the Harry Potter audiobooks. Again, Harry Potter. I will save my discussion of Harry Potter fandom for another episode when we have more time to devote to it. But I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I've read through the books. I think I've read through most, if not all, the books at least twice, although it has... Ooh, yikes. Flipped the construction equipment there. It has been a while. But I listened through the Jim Dale narrated audiobooks back in 2011-ish or so. Yeah, somewhere in there. 2000. I think it was summer of 2011, because I was working. I was working in a play. Actually, I was working for the same company that I work for now. Only I was in production, not in sales. And I was running these gigantic embroidery machines for 8 hours a day. You could just and so I'd put in headphones. And I'd listen to music and I'd listen to audiobooks, and it was wonderful. Hours and hours a week. And so I listened through the Jim Dale versions of the Harry Potter audiobooks in like the space of 3 weeks. You know, it's a lot of audio, but I had all the time in the world. So I listened through those and very much enjoyed them. And for the last several years, I have wanted to not go back, but I've wanted to listen through the Stephen Fry versions. And enjoy his take on them, because all the reviews say they're both equally good. Some variances, some differences. But finally, I decided to take the plunge a few weeks ago and said, I should just listen to it. I don't have a job or a position now where I can just listen for hours on end. And that's one of the things that sometimes keeps me away from audiobooks, because I don't typically like the idea of just listening in small chunks, 10, 15 minutes here, 10, 15 minutes there. But so far, it's worked. I'm a few chapters into the second book now, and I'm very much enjoying it. Hard to say. I wonder if some of it is from the fact that I know the stories. I know the general outline and plot. Ooh, they got me for speeding, and that was a hefty one. €1,000 fine. Okay, time for cruise control. So yeah, listening through an audiobook where I already know the basic story, I've forgotten, some of the finer details, but I can enjoy the performance and the story without having to worry about, I forget who this character is, or I forget what's going on here. I can do that in small chunks, just listening on the commute each day, or for a few minutes here or there. And I'm not rushing through them at all, whereas I got through the Jim Dale ones in the space of 3 weeks. It may take me multiple months to get through the Stephen Fry audiobooks. And that's fine. There's no rush to it. But maybe doing that too will help me kind of retune my ear to say, okay, now maybe I can listen to some new audiobooks, since there's no sense wasting those commuting hours and hours when you could be listening to something, but if you can't actually be reading at the time. I've gone through a lot of phases of podcasts, and I still listen to some podcasts, but again, usually I listen to those when I have a bigger chunk of time. So, for the smaller chunks, going back through Harry Potter. What I really want to do, I've wanted to do this for a couple years, and the timing has just never quite aligned. Oh, big yawn there. Hour and a half. Yeah, I'm going to need to sleep. Next rest area I see, we're going to take it. I really want to do a Harry Potter movie marathon. I've seen all the movies. It's been many years since I've seen some. Like, I don't recall the last time I saw Sorcerer or Chamber of Secrets, Goblet of Fire. Really, 2, 4, 5, and 6. Like I've seen Azkaban several times because they used to play it on TV all the time, and I know I've seen 1 and the last ones a couple times. But I really want to take 2 days and watch them all back to 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 back. There's 8 movies. You need to do 4 per day. It would take, what did I calculate? Like 21 to 22 hours. So if you take 2 consecutive days and watch 4 movies a day, which equals out to like between 10 and 11 hours per day, I want to do all 8 movies within the space of 48 hours. I just got to find the right 2-day period when I have nothing else going on and I don't need to leave the house, and I can just watch through those. The last time I did something that epic was I did watch all 3 extended edition Lord of the Rings movies in a single day. That was several years ago. Now, that was back in 2013 or so. No, farther than that, 2011, 2012. I have since watched them again in a short time span. This actually last year they were re-showing them in theaters, so it's like I watched 1 on Thursday and 1 on Saturday and 1 on Monday. So within the space of like a week. And that was good. But boy, there's nothing like watching all 3 extended editions, which is like 12 hours of movie, in a single day. You feel like you've aged a lifetime. You feel like you've lived 12 years in a single day. It's very confusing, but very enjoyable. Like I always said the human brain was not designed to take in that much epic plot in a single sitting. But I want to do that with the Harry Potter movies. One, for the epic plot, and two, I think it'd be very trippy to watch the kids grow up, over the space of 7 years, or what was it, 10 or 11 years in real time, in 2 days. Very much looking forward to that. Don't know when exactly, but at some point. And when I do, I will be coming here to report back to you exactly how it went. And now it's time to pull off here for a nap. We got plenty of fuel, no problem there. All we need is a little bit of a snooze. The trick is finding the... Don't hit anything there. The truck. Okay, here's one. Straight ahead. Is this one? There we go. Take a snooze. Waking up at 3:30 in the morning, because that's how we roll. Oh yeah, plenty of time. We'll have a good 7-hour buffer after this delivery. Boy, then as soon as we make this delivery, it's going to be time for a nap for myself. Nothing quite like getting to watch the sun rise over the horizon as we drive through the fields of Germany. Or Austria, or whichever country we're in now. Ooh, taking that exit a little bit fast there. Let's not drive off into the meadow of flowers. Nice place for a picnic, not a nice place to roll your truck over on its side. Rolling into Dresden up here, which is the name of another series of books that I want to read at some point, the Dresden Files. I read the first couple. Actually, I listened to them on audiobook several years ago, but there's so many books in that series, and I forget all the details of the first one, so at some point I want to go back through those. Maybe I'll get those on audiobook after I finish my listen through of the Harry Potter series. So Dresden is a new town here, so we have made at least some new tracks in terms of the roads we've driven on, building up that percentage. Ooh. Hey, they didn't catch me running through the red light. Amazing. Find one of these big old timber trucks here. Boy, as a kid, I was always afraid that all it would take is one little snafu, and all those logs would just come tumbling right down at you. Probably happened somewhere, sometime, to someone. Not to me yet. And here we go. Let's play it safe, because that's how we roll. Didn't quite get it on the first go. Ooh, I'm trying to jackknife it now. There we go. How'd we do? Excellent! 2 for 2 on excellent deliveries. Milk. Going the distance there. Look at that, some nice bonuses. And hey, we have hit level 10. We are now a skilled worker. It doesn't exactly sound like the job title of someone who would start buying garages, but, I think maybe next episode, that's what we'll do. Do a little research into what it takes to upgrade your garage, buy another truck, hire some drivers. Not actually even sure if we'll do it, but we'll do some research, see what it takes. And, now we got to upgrade this. High value cargo. That gives you more rewards. So I like that. I still haven't taken anything in fragile cargo yet. Not the way I drive. Better to stick to high value, but not fragile. There we go. A couple great delivery guys. Some nice long ones there. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm now going to end this recording and go and make sure that we did not lose this file. Boy, I hope we didn't, because I'm committed to giving you a full, great episode of Bean Games this Friday. Hey, have a great weekend. Hey, it's Easter weekend. Hope you have a great Easter. Spend time with your family, with your loved ones. And we'll see you back here on Monday. More Resident Evil. And until then, have a great weekend.